So we are going to take these notes on the other side of page 11. And this is going to be our simplifying hack. So a hack is a shortcut, which in the days when kids used to walk all sorts of places, they might figure out that there was a shortcut to walking from one place to another if they cut through the woods. And so they could walk less if they walked through the woods. Now, the downside of this is you've got to know your way through the woods, or you get lost and then no one knows where to find you. So, some of you that are just barely making it from one place to the other in fractions, I want you to take these notes, but I don't want you to worry about trying to do this, right? So this is those people who are looking for a way to be even more efficient, and this might be a great tip for them. But again, if you're not ready for the shortcut through the woods, don't go through the woods. All right, here's what it is. We are looking for opportunities to simplify before we get to the answer. So we look for common factors between the top and the bottom. Here's what I mean by that. Let's say we're going to do 1/2 divided by 2, 1/2 divided by 1/2. We'll just call that good. 1/2 divided by 1/2. I am going to keep the first number, but I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of the second number. Now, before I even get across, I see that I have a 2 on the top and a 2 on the bottom. Common factor from the top to the bottom. I can just cancel those common factors out. And I just bring over my 1/1, which is 1. So look for common factors between the top and the bottom to cancel out. Here's another example. If I have 3 1/3 times 3/7. I got to turn 3 1/3 into an improper fraction. So that's going to become 10/3 times 3/7. Right here, I have a 3 on top. I have a 3 on the bottom. Those are common factors. I can cancel them out. And I jump to 10/7, which is 1 3/7. There's also one more layer to this. But again, don't get lost in the woods. This is not what works for your brain. Don't try to do it. So I can also look for common factors where it might not be the exact same number. And here's what I mean by that. So if I have 4/5 times 1/2, I don't have to change anything necessarily here, but I see 4 and 2. And I can divide out 2. So if I divide out 2 divided by 2 would just be 1, so that gets rid of that one. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So now my problem can be 2/5 times 1/1, which is just 2/5. So in this case, it wasn't the exact same number, but when they have a common factor, I can pull that common factor out. It comes really in handy when we're working with big numbers, like we might be if we're like dividing by mixed numbers. So if I have 6 4/10 divided by 3/8. First, I got to make this into an improper fraction, so it's going to be 64/10 times 8/3. This was a terrible example. Ignore this. Let's pretend that was 4/8. All right. So rather than doing 64 times 8 and getting some gigantic number, I can say, you know what? 4 is a factor of 8, or I can say it's a factor of 64. So I'm going to take 4 out as the factor I'm going to cancel. And 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So now, instead of having to do 64 times 8, I just have to do 64 times 2. And my bottom, 10 times 1, is just going to be over 10. So then when I do 64 times 2, I get 128/10. I turn that into a mixed number. I can make 12 wholes, and I have 8/10 left over. And now I do still have a little bit of simplifying to do because these both have a common factor of 2. So it would be 2, 12, and 4/5. So if that made sense to you, great. I gave you a hack. If not, don't go through the woods.